Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Mandates, the show where my sister and I force each other to watch movies according to a monthly theme. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kelly.
And it's a new year, so let's start the month off right with an appropriate new theme, Mea Culpa.
I thought you were going to say, let's start the year off with apologies.
Well, I mean, you could do that too. Anyway, back in May Day month, I mandated we watch When Worlds Collide, the most disaster movie I could think of. Wasn't great. So this month, I'm making up for my less than awesome selection with Dog Day Afternoon, a movie about the most disastery bank robbery I could think of. But before we get to the review, it's only fair that since I mandated today's movie, Kelly gets to challenge me in a segment we call Trivial Trivia.
Excellent. Okay, so before I give you trivial trivia, I do want to first ask you a question. When preparing for our little chat this evening and or looking into Dog Day Afternoon, did you investigate the Oscars surrounding it?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Because I was actually thinking it's not what I'm about to ask you. However, it was the first thing that came. I'm like, ooh, because I love Oscars.
So what did it win? Did it?
So here, let me give you a.
I actually didn't even think of that.
So, brother, it was nominated for 6 Oscars.
Okay.
Let me just make sure I've counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was nominated for 6 Oscars. It won 1. Okay. I'm going to tell you what it was nominated for. You tell me again. By the way, this isn't the trivial trivia. This is just fun.
Okay. All right.
You tell me which one it won. Okay. Best Picture. Mm-hmm. Best Actor in a Leading Role, Mr. Al Pacino. Best Actor in a Supporting Role, which we are going to talk at length about in a moment, Chris Sarandon. Best Director, Sydney. Best Writing of Original Screenplay, Frank Pearson. And Best Film Editing, very exciting, Dee Allen, a female. Just because I don't know a lot of female editors. So those were the 6: Picture, Actor, Supporting, Director, Original Screenplay. Also interesting because of Lumet's, I'll talk about that later, and film editing.
Screenplay? Indeed.
This was the year against One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and thusly.
Okay, because I'm not an Oscar buff, but I was like, I don't recall Dog Day Afternoon winning. Cuckoo's Nest. You've seen Cuckoo's Nest, right? Oh, it's on the to-do list, huh?
Yeah,
it's good. It's one of the good ones.
Okay,
it's so one of the Oscar winners
that theme.
Yeah,
that would fit. And then I can just slide it on in there.
What do you mean you haven't seen Month?
There you go. Movies we're embarrassed to tell people we haven't seen. By the way, I have seen The Godfather. Point is,
that wasn't Sydney. Oh well, Al Pacino. Okay, sure.
Yes.
There's some good. Quick question before I forget. Sydney Lumet. I have a theory. I may have only seen like 2 of his films now. I've seen, this one and 12 Angry Men.
You never saw Death Trap? That terrible Christopher Reeve movie?
Oh, I have seen that. I didn't think it was terrible.
Oh, I was young and watching it.
That's him and Michael Caine and
yes.
Where he's right? Yeah. I've seen that. I thought it was all right.
Where were you going with this? I interrupted you, Sydney Lumet. You have a theory.
He likes people who sweat.
Holy gross! Holy, oh my gosh! I mean, I have more to talk about.
I'd have to watch more of his filmography to see if this is an actual theme. People just really sweating.
I remember the first movie that I saw that people were like uncomfortably sweating, and it was McConaughey he was a lawyer.
Oh, it's one of the Grissom adaptations.
Yes.
It's Sam Jackson's in it,
and I'm like, can't they make it look, and I remember like being like, I understand it's authentic, but it's just not pretty. Again, I was young. Time to Kill.
You're damn right. They deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. I think
Time to Kill. Time to Kill. Was that right?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look. It's such a generic name. All of his films have generic names, so Time to Kill. I think that's right. Yeah, Sandra Bullock's in it too.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, that's it.
So, which leads me
to the actual trivial
question, which is there have been several famous, infamous bank robbers throughout history. Could you name 3 to 5? I mean, 5 if you want to make
bank, like
movies for real life. No, not
people
movies.
Who actually robbed banks in real life. Oh God.
To be fair, almost all of the really notorious ones have movies.
Okay, so Sonny Wabershurfurzenbeck.
Yep.
Whatever his name is.
Hold on, let me find the actual what his last name is. Please continue, and I'll find it.
Bonnie and Clyde. Did they rob banks?
Oh, but they did.
Okay.
Technically, that's 2. Well, that's why I was like 3 to 5 because I'm like
3. Bonnie and Clyde.
Because I'm like, if you say Bonnie and Clyde, like I agree, that's 2 different people. But like maybe if we were doing 3, we could make that one. Just like Sonny, what's his ass? Wozniak. What is his last name? Wozniak. No, that's from whatever it's called.
It's Bill Gates' buddy, Steve Wozniak.
No, what's the dude in Monsters Inc?
Mike Wachowski.
Oh, okay, then I was way off. So they've all been. So you have think West, my friend, as in old.
Yeah. Did Billy the Kid rob any banks?
Probably. He also had some friends. There's another. Oh no. Did I not? There it goes. There's another duo movie. There's another duo that a movie was made about other than Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, there's Natural Born Killers. I don't know if they robbed
They're not
banks,
real.
Though.
No, these are like Mr. Mustache is in it. What is his name? Tom Selleck?
Well,
no, maybe I lied to you. It's not. It's Burt Reynolds. I full on lied to you.
Also,
you know what? I
still
could be lying to you. I don't know the answer.
Smokey
maybe Sally
Field
Field was in it. Then I'm wrong. Then that was Smokey and the Bandit. I'm thinking of something else. Maybe the blonde guy was in it. Robert Redford.
I mean, he's in the. No, that's that. No, he's not in the Sting. That's
Robert Redford's in the Sting. Aren't they both in the Sting? No, they're both in The Color of Monroe.
I'm gonna have to.
Let me see who's in this movie. And
Color of Money was Paul Newman and Tom Cruise. The Sting was Paul Newman and Robert Redford. Okay, so I okay.
And this one is Paul Newman and Robert Redford. The one I'm trying to get you to guess has nothing to do with a mustache.
Yeah, it's like they're probably playing like a Al Capone or 20s, 30s era mobster gangster peoples, right?
You're gonna kick yourself.
Yeah, what is it?
Butch Cassidy.
Oh, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Sure, another Western. Yeah.
But that's right. So John Dillinger, Jesse James.
Sure.
You got what's Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde.
And then of course there's Machine Gun Kelly, Ned Kelly, lots of Kellys. And here's one I didn't know.
Isn't he dating
so Machine Gun Kelly,
Fox?
Who's dating Megan Fox, named himself after, because I don't think he came out of the womb and mom and dad were like
Machine Gun.
Machine Gun. Possibly, maybe he.
Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Kelly. What are you going to name him? Machine Gun.
Gun and Kelly. Well, maybe this is true, but he did name himself after a famous. I am
amazed that I actually identified a celebrity couple accurately, I think that's worth a point. Even though it's completely it's nothing to do with the question. I'm just so impressed.
Like, I knew he was dating someone and I got her first name. You did actually. I think you got the whole thing. She plays April in one of the iterations of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Didn't she play in both the live action Michael Bay movies? Is she not in one of them?
Oh, yes. This is correct. I guess I forgot.
I haven't seen either of them. Yeah, there's two. So.
Here, hey, sequel we forgot about.
The one with the CG turtles. I think a different woman plays April in all three of the one with the costumed
that we watched
back in the 90s. Yeah.
I remember because that one with the Jesse James character, yet again, with the hockey mask. Wasn't his name Jesse James? I liked her. She had kind of frizzy red hair. And then they went
Casey Jones.
Casey Jones. Different. He's at bat. Got it. I'm just really into bank robbers right now, apparently. Where was I going with that? Jesse James, who's not Jesse James, he was Casey Jones at the bat.
Danny Ocean, also not a real guy, but yeah. Damn.
But no, she
could have had 10 other dudes with that one.
She had like frizzy red hair that like looked kind of crimped, and then they went with
April in the first movie.
Yeah. And then I don't remember what she looked like at all in the second movie, because I remember going, she's just generic, or whatever
I remember her in the first and the third movie. I can't even picture her in the second movie.
But I remember being unimpressed because I was like, oh, you had a good actress who had a unique little look to her and it was very exciting. And then you went with generic. It's probably someone really famous. And I'll be like, oh, oops.
Well, Ernie Reyes Jr. was in it. He played the kid. Secret of the Ooze.
Secret of the
Ooze. All right. Paige Turco.
Means nothing.
Yeah, I don't know her either.
Sorry, Paige.
Love you, Paige.
You mean great. Thank you. So.
Oh wait, she plays her in 3 too.
Oh, they go back to her. I must not have seen 3. Which one did Vanilla Ice do a rap
2?
Then I don't think I saw 3 then, because they went back to the original April. Good for them.
Well, no, the original. Well, no, there's the same woman plays her in 2 and 3, so they didn't go back to the original April, or at least not the one who was in the first movie.
I recant what I just said then.
Yeah,
because I misunderstood. I was like, oh.
So they recast her for the second movie and then used the same actor in the third. And yeah, don't bother seeing the third movie. It's bad.
Suck.
Yeah.
But you know what's not bad? Dog Day Afternoon.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all. In fact, quite good.
So redeemed to make up for
dude, for real though. And it is a disaster of a movie. Like,
yeah, well, yeah. I started watching. It's one of those on my to see list for a long time, and I watched it. Got added to the Criterion channel a month or so ago, as of this recording, and I was like, I always wanted to see that, so I started watching it, and after about 40 minutes, I turned it off. I'm like, you know what, this is, and
that's not even the halfway point. So it's
yeah,
okay.
It's a 2-hour movie. So hell of a cast too. Carol Kane's in it. Baby Carol Kane is in it.
Oh my god, baby Carol Kane. I have so much to say about this movie. Like, it's unbelievable. I should have took copious amounts of notes, but like, she was so cute.
I didn't recognize Chris Sarandon at first.
I am blown away. Okay, so this is the very, very shallow.
Baby Lance Henriksen is in it too.
Yeah, he is. But so I was looking into my trivia today, and of course I was like, ooh, Oscars, I'm going to look into that because that's my bag, baby. And when I was looking, and because I was in my head, like, I hadn't looked into it yet, and I didn't realize that was Chris Sarandon. I watched the whole scene with Leon scenes, but like, that whole section, and I was blown away by that performance. First off, I was blown away. Like, I haven't seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Jack Nicholson better be like supreme, because Al Pacino was insane in this role. I couldn't even handle it. And then, I mean, I felt everything. And then you meet Leon, and I was like, I don't know who this. He looked familiar, and he was beautiful, and I was like, but I couldn't place him. And he was perfect. Everything about it was perfect. I was like enamored, and it wasn't until I looked at the Academy Awards to try to figure out, and it was like Best Supporting Actor, and I was like, oh, that better be that Leon guy, Chris Sarandon. And I'm like, what the? He came from doing a soap opera. He got his first role in
Sarandon.
Yes, he was on a soap opera, Guiding Light or something. I don't know. I only watched Passions. But anyways, so he was on a soap opera for like 3, 6, I don't know, years, couple years, somewhere in there. And then this was his first movie debut and Oscar nod. Like,
oh, how about that?
I'm like, I'm like mad respect, dude. Like, he didn't go far enough, though. I know who he is, but I know who he is because he's in Fright Night and Chucky and Prince Humperdinck.
Yep.
And he's brilliant as Humperdinck. Like, all kidding aside,
that is a funny performance.
It's a really good performance. So anyways, I was in awe. I was very excited by him, and I was very excited by all the names that, because I didn't recognize Carol Kane until later. Like, I
as soon as she crawled out from under the desk, I'm like, Carol Kane.
Oh, I was like, I was like, who is this? I'm like, there was a lot of she looked familiar moments. And then it was later when I think it was when she was like, he said the F word. And I'm like, Carol Kane. Because that's when because she's on the phone and she's meek, and then she has like the beverage against her face. Every time you see her, she's kind of just has her shoulders up and is very, that's a meek character. And very tragic. Very, like, she has like 3 scenes, and like, honestly, it's a very full round. Like, I know exactly how sad her existence is. Like, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And I'm like, wow, that's good writing. Hell, original screenplay. There you go.
Yep, there you go.
Check.
So do you know how accurate this film is to the actual event?
I do not. Do you?
Okay, no.
I do know about Attica. That I do.
You know what? I went into this. I had known about the Attica, and I'm aware of the Attica event.
Yes.
But I didn't know what movie it was from. I actually watched the movie. I'm like, oh, this is what it's from. Okay, cool.
And it's like right at the beginning.
It's in the first
pretty
like,
early,
25 minutes or so. Yeah.
But no, so I knew, and from last week.
Another one of those goddamn events that's referred to colloquially as a riot rather than a massacre, like the Tulsa race riots or the Stonewall riots. It's like, it's a fucking massacre, you history revising asswipes.
That's true. That didn't even think about it that way, but you are not wrong.
Yeah.
So no, I don't know much about this, but it's funny because I actually went into this movie knowing I knew that what's his name was in it. I guess
Pacino, yeah. The only thing I knew is Pacino was in it,
Attica.
and it was called A Dog Day Afternoon. I had no idea what the movie was about. Didn't even know it was about a bank robbery when I started it.
I had no idea, like, the actual premise of this movie, what was gonna happen. I had everything was brand new to me. Yeah, so that was really exciting. But I remember at the beginning of the movie when I saw, because I'm like, oh, I want to know who directed this. I want to know. So I was watching for the name, and I saw Sidney Lumet, and I remember at the beginning thinking,
is it a hard T or is it Lumet?
I don't know. I'm going to go back and forth because he's never introduced himself to me.
Rude son of a bitch.
Right, God.
He's like, I got a lot of people in this country to get to. Hello, Sydney.
Hello, Sydney.
Can't stay. Got to go introduce myself to everyone else.
Gotta keep going. Gotta make the rounds.
There's a curse. You can't die until you introduce yourself to everyone.
I want to make that movie. No, I don't. But no, I saw his name come up and I thought, well, that's a interesting choice. Perhaps this movie is different than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I because when you like last week when you were like, you know, bank robbery, and I'm like bank, and I was like, what, Lumet, really? All right, cool. But then as it really, which is why I was surprised it was an original screenplay, because when I think about Lumet, who knows, he does,
he might.
he probably goes back and forth too.
It's like, you know what? My parents never would tell me how to pronounce my name.
You know, that's something that for me, I would totally do just to jerk with people is like just tell some people it's pronounced this way and some people, and like have them get in arguments with each other. Okay, sorry, that's rude. However, when I got hired at my company, we're going to put a pin in Sidney Lumet, but I'm going to remember it. When I got hired at my company, I was asked for an anecdote about yourself. Other than the anecdote of I freaking hate that, which I don't think would go over well. I told them that my
what
nickname.
Do you hate?
I hate the whole, we want to introduce you. So can you please send a picture and a funny little anecdote about yourself so we can share it? And I'm like, my anecdote is my middle finger.
I hate getting to know you games.
I'm like, I am a fucking delight. But like,
okay, well, we each dropped an F-bomb.
Okay, now we're done.
We're done.
The point is, I'm a ray of sunshine. You don't need my anecdote. So the one I gave them was that my nickname is Git, because my brother, when we were younger, liked to say, get over here. And I thought it was funny. And he thought it was funny. And this was wonderful. And that was my anecdote. They misconstrued my anecdote. And I watched the meeting where they introduced me, and they had my picture, and all it said is nickname Git. That's all it said. And the woman, I didn't even get to introduce myself. It was the woman, like HR woman, going through all the new hires of the last quarter. And she's like, and this is, you know, Kelly, and her nickname is Jit. And I'm like, incorrect, sir.
Okay, well, I mean, it's gonna have the same argument. Is it Jeff or Geff?
But
Who can say?
That's why part of the anecdote is because it's Git.
The pronunciation's in the anecdote. Yeah,
it's there. That's what it is. You're not going to go, Jit, get over here. That's not funny.
Yeah.
So Sidney Lumet, I know.
She's like, your brother must be stupid and uncreative.
She's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I know him as he does the plays. I mean, he's done it, but like he did Death Trap, he did 12 Angry Men, he did The Seagull, he did, oh God, Sidney, what else did he do? So he does these.
The only other one I can think of is the other Pacino film, Serpico.
Oh, he did do Serpico. You're right. You're right.
I think it's the only other one off the top of my head I know.
But let's see if I know.
I haven't seen it, so.
And so for me, I'm just like, normally he does these, you know,
people in a place and acting.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, and then as it was, oh, this is a people in a place talking and acting. So
pretty much, yeah.
Good hire. So he made it all work. But it was at first, I was like, well, curious. I mean, he's a director. He should be able to do, you know, direct a movie anyways. I shouldn't be that surprised. But it did. This was in 75?
Yeah, so I think 75, yeah.
The actual, because Attica was in 71, and then this took place in 72. The actual events of this story are 72.
Sounds right. Something like that, yeah.
It was at the beginning of the movie when it told us.
Yeah, yeah. So I just know the whole Attica thing was in the 70s, and it would have had to have been before 1975. So.
Indeed. So I should have looked more into this, but let's get into it, because the plot, because it's people just acting, I found fascinating that he and his buddy, two buddies, by the way, go to rob a bank. I believe that the reason that you find out later, which I'm not even sure if was the full reason, is he's taking money for his for Leon.
Yes.
So that Leon can get the operation he needs to become a
gender
woman.
confirmation surgery.
Yes.
Right.
And that comes out later. And at the so they go into this bank, and there's Sal, his buddy.
I imagine Sal and whoever the other guy was had their own reasons and their own expenses, but
yeah,
that seems to be the primary reason Sonny was in there. Pacino's
right.
character.
So he was there for that. And you don't really learn their reasons, and you don't really learn their connection. However, except maybe they were in prison together or something, because there was a moment.
Yeah, they've at least both been in prison.
Yes,
so.
But he also talks about Sonny to like both of his wives and his mother, as if like he's like, no, Sonny's in there, as if they know who Sonny is. So he's a guy who's been there. But then that third little dude gets cold feet at the beginning of the movie and leaves. And like, but no, not until the robbery has started. The guns
are already out, and he's like, Sonny, he's trying to hold the guard hostage. He's like, I can't do it. And it's like, security guard, could you unlock the door and let him out? Because he's like, sorry, Sonny. He's like, oh wait, here's the gun. Oh wait, Carol Kane's hiding under the table. But bye.
So like, this is right at the beginning, and I thought, this really is a disaster.
And it gets worse from there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when he comes into the the bank with a box
salad
of flowers or socks.
Are you hungry?
I guess. So he's got his rifle in a long box. And he's like, all right, nobody moving, whips the thing out of it. And the box is, he's got the strap caught on his arm and the box is tangled up. And he's like,
oh my God.
He brought spray paint to spray paint the security cameras, which is like, they've already seen you. It seems kind of late now. But they're like a lot higher up than he realized. He's trying to jump and spray paint, and then he like drags a chair over so that he can spray paint the thing. And then he lights the ledger on fire.
Yeah,
I guess so they can't trace how much money he took. And the smoke actually goes through the ventilation system and pumps out into the street, and that's how the insurance guy across the street is like, oh, something's going on at the bank. It's like, no shit, put out the fire.
And but we missed a big part in that the entire plan revolved around the fact that the money was supposed to get delivered that day or something.
The money was supposed to be delivered that day in the afternoon, but
it was picked up.
It was picked up, so there's no money in the bank.
$1,100 at the bank.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
Yeah. And then it's like he tries to lock the all the tellers and stuff in the bank vault, and she's like, I have to pee. And
then there's a woman in the bathroom
he finally's like, okay, anyone else need to pee? And they're like, yeah. It's like, all right, we're
women, we have to pee.
Okay, Penelope, let's go pee. And they go into the bathroom. There's a woman saying, she's like, oh, son of a bitch, she's always doing this. She's supposed to have 10 minutes, she always takes 20. It's like, you've been in there the whole time. It's been 20 minutes.
They made the conceit that she had like a little small radio with her that she was listening to, and that's why she didn't hear the commotion of the bank. But I was like, dude, you've been in. Yeah, it was definitely I've been here the whole time moment. When he took that rifle out of that flower box, and it just was not working, and it was a little prolonged to the point of like,
this is kind of sad and embarrassing.
I'm just like, dude, and then there was also I'm like, there were a lot of times that, and I wonder, and these are things that we'll never, and then the
security guard has an asthma attack, and the other guy has diabetes, and he needs his insulin shot. It's like, oh, for crying out loud.
And then Carol Kane's husband is calling her going,
Carol Kane's husband, what am I
supposed to do for dinner?
Home?
Like, she's like, he wants to know when I'll be done here, when you'll be done. It's like, I'm a hostage. Okay, but you need to come make me dinner. And she's on the phone. She's like, well, you can have anything, honey. I don't think I'm going to come home. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God.
I love the way she's like on the phone. And she's like, sir, he wants to know what time will be done. It's like, I don't know.
It was incredible. Just all of the small little details. But I wonder if some of those moments, like when he was trying to get the gun out and whatnot, I almost wonder if they were accidental. Like, was it supposed to be easier, or like were they never letting him practice and they're like, just do it the first time?
I would imagine that a lot of this was probably a lot of it was planned, but I would imagine some of the actions and dialogue were improvised.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
probably maybe improvised in like rehearsal. My understanding is Sydney, our buddy Sydney, is
Specific.
Well, allows us. I've heard that 12 Angry Men did the same thing with allowing the actors to find the characters and find what they're going to do and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of what happens in the film arose organically, at least in rehearsal, wasn't originally in the script, but was came up as the actors were finding their characters.
That's fair, because there was a moment later when he's like, as he just grows more and more like, what am I gonna do, and he, like, there's a swivel chair and he's just walking down and he pushes it to swivel it and it actually falls over,
and,
like, he walked away and then he stopped and he looked back and then he continued on his route and then he came back and he picked it back up again. Yes. And I was like, I like this man. He does not break. He reminds me of you. Like, I was a character breaker. You were not.
I mean, sometimes when the set literally falls over, I mean, there's not a whole hell of a lot you can do. But
no.
One thing I want to point out is poor Fredo. He just can't survive these damn movies with Al Pacino.
Dude, so he's in the bank. Okay, so let's get to Fredo. Who's not Fredo? Who's Sal?
Salvador.
So,
he's a doll.
Dolly. So all of what is it? The persistence of memory. The clock one. Isn't that what it's called? Persistence of memory. Salvador Dali's like famous work with the melting clocks.
I actually don't know.
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't know. I know what you're referring to, but I'm like, you know what? I don't know. He probably calls it, the melting clock one.
The melting clock one. Yeah, he probably doesn't even call it that either. So all of these things are going wrong. And Sal says to Sonny, he says, Sonny, do you remember what we said? Do you remember what we said? We said that if it goes awry,
this is pretty late in the film. Yeah.
We'll kill ourselves. And so it's come to that. And Sonny's like, no, it has not come to that. But I'm going to call him Fredo. Dang you. Sal is such a tragic character because I feel like he so badly just doesn't want to be there. He's like, I think he knows his ending is the problem. I think Sal knows that there's no way out of this. There's no way out of this, period.
We're either going to get shot or go back to jail, and I'm not going back to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So Sal's pretty convinced, I think, throughout the entire movie that this is going to end up with a bullet in him, because as he makes clear, and this is like 80 minutes into the movie, that this is well into pushing into Act 3, where he mentions we said that if things go sideways, we'd shoot ourselves. So that as a viewer, you retroactively, it's like, that's why he's just been kind of sitting there like a lump throughout the entire movie, because he's like, the police are either going to kill us or I'm going to kill myself, because I'm not going back to jail.
Yeah. And it's such a tragic thing. And I think so we're skipping things. We'll get back to it. We talk in circles. It's fine. But we're talking about Sal's journey.
That's why you're supposed to watch the movie before the podcast. Yes, we tell you what movie we're going to watch.
Exactly. We give you 2 weeks.
Yep.
But like following his arc, it really is because you're right. He's kind of fuddy-duddy stick in the mud. And Sonny's just like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. And he has all this energy. And then when you find out this whole, we're going to not kill each other, but we're going to commit suicide thing. If it doesn't work out. And yeah, Sal just sits with his gun. He looks so forlorn. He just knows. And then at the end, I applaud Sydney for the suspense within the limousine bus. So all of they get to a point through multiple other mishaps and very interesting
so
topics.
Through a bunch of negotiations, the police agree to provide a bus for Sonny and Sal and the hostages to drive to the airport where a plane will be waiting for them so that they can fly to the country of Wyoming.
Yes, that is correct. Or Algeria.
Or Algeria.
I know. He said that and I was like, Wyoming.
I was like, I'm like, do any of the characters in this movie know which continent Algeria is on? Do they even know? I was
wondering that too. I was like, that's an interesting choice.
I mean, do you really want to go to Africa? Or I hear it's nice this time of year, but why Algeria? Is it just a name of you just picked a country out of a bag? I don't know.
They started with the A's and they forgot
Probably,
about Afghanistan.
Think of a country. Algeria? Is that a country? Yeah.
But yeah, so in the limo driver continues. So Sal has had
because there's no talk about Algeria has a no extradition treaty kind of thing. No, they just I have no idea.
Nothing. I truly think it's a willy-nilly moment.
I want to go to Wyoming.
I know.
Well, there's no one there. I can't get extradited from a state where no one lives.
They call the Wyoming police. It's that one guy in a shack down the road.
Yeah. You ever seen a Wyoming license plate? Well, if you have, there's only 3 characters on it.
That is correct.
What's your Wyoming license plate? Z2H. That's it.
We've lost our entire Wyoming audience.
Well, screw these guys.
Both of them are really upset now. Yes. The entire population now of Wyoming, all 2 of them. No, so he's in the limo bus, which was the most oddly shaped and looking vehicle I have ever seen. I didn't understand quite what it was, but it truly is a limo bus, which I didn't know could exist until I saw this vehicle. And so they're in it, and Sonny's in the front seat and Sal's in the back seat, and Sal has his little gun, like, don't make any sudden moves. And the driver says to him, would you mind pointing that thing at the ceiling? Right. Would you mind pointing that thing at the ceiling so that it, if we hit one bump, it goes off. And he constantly would lower it. And in my head, because again, no clue how this was going to end. I knew it wasn't going to be happy. Like, did I know that it would be tragic? Like, did I know that they were not going to win? Yes. Did I know how they weren't going to win? No. I mean, and so I truly was.
I mean, especially with the setup of Attica, I'm like, oh god, are they just going to do a Sonny Corleone on this car with all the hostages in it? Well, I was like, oh man. Well, I actually don't know what actually happened here, so
I don't either. And then because like he being Sal would continually like just kind of bring it back because
I didn't think of that. His character's name is Sonny in this movie. Yeah.
Oh, funny. But he would keep bringing it back, and in my head, I'm like, it's going to go off, and he's going to accidentally kill either the driver, and then it's going to go off a cliff, and everyone's going to scream, and there's going to be panic, and then Sal's going to go crazy and kill, or something. Like, I'm like, there's either, or Sal's going to, or they really are going to hit a bump, and it's going to go off and hit a hostage. And like, at this point, at least Sonny has grown fond of the hostages, and the hostages have grown fond of Sonny.
Oh yeah, they're all playing games
chummy
together and stuff in the bank.
He's teaching that one girl how to twirl a rifle.
How to do like ROTC rifle
gymnastics or whatever.
Yeah, twirling.
So it was a very suspenseful scene to me because not having any clue what was going to happen. did not
Yeah, because
foresee.
you could totally see the gun even just going off into the roof and just all the cops opening fire.
Yes. And that was the key to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he mentioned it. I'm like, shoot, this is it. This is the key,
Mm-hmm.
because a limo driver, bus limo driver is going to know. I seriously, for someone who can predict the end of twisty movies, I did not foresee him, the driver, having a hidden gun that he was able to get and shoot Sal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that. I was like, because when they got to the airport and turned off the car, nothing happened. I was like, what? Why? I'm like, that was a weird. I'm very anxious still. I'm like, I'm still very anxious. And there has been no payoff to this lower the gun, not lower the gun thing. And then he shot him between the eyes.
Yeah.
But I really didn't see it coming. I was very surprised. I liked it. I like being surprised because it doesn't happen all the time. But yeah, no, I thought so. There were two feelings that I had. I had several, but I'm going to talk about these two specifically. At the beginning of the movie, he was very bumbly. We've already covered that, right? And I was thinking about taking that moment into now. He would have been bum rushed in a heartbeat. Like, it was very interesting to me to see the difference. I mean, yes, has it been 50 years? It has, but it was quite weird because it took me a moment, because at first I'm like, why don't they just grab him? Why don't they just punch him in the face? Like I was very much in the mind.
I mean, the idea is there's another guy inside holding the rest of the hostages at gunpoint. So
yeah, but it was such a weird sort of. No, I meant like inside, before Sonny goes out and starts talking to the cops always so openly and just hangs out there and chats with them. I meant like at the very beginning. I'm like,
wait, who were you expecting to bum rush them? Like the tellers?
Anyone or the bank. I mean, because they were bumbly at the beginning. They were not
I think
on it.
Yeah, true, but I think that still they do both have guns. And also I think pretty quickly they're like, okay, these two jackasses aren't going to hurt us. We're insured. Right. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And right. And that was another thing that I found interesting in my head, because I was like, because nowadays, like in my head, nowadays, if two very bumbly bank robbers came in, whoever was it, like someone would have jumped them and it would have been a very short movie. So I had to get that out of my head, in the fact of, I'm like, now that wasn't the thing back then, and they did have guns, and I get it.
Yeah, but you jump someone with a gun, that gun's probably gonna go off. And
yeah,
someone might get shot. So,
but I did find it interesting. Weird is not the word. I found it interesting how popular, like he became popular externally from the bank, and then internally they liked him. Like, they didn't want to leave. Like, there were a few hostages who were given the chance to leave and said no. They're like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm sticking this out. This is a thing. We have an understanding. And this is not a new thing. Like, there have been, not many, but there have been several. I said not many, and then I said several, but I mean, like, there have been a handful of these hostage type situations where the hostages actually do kind of protect or respond emotionally in the affirmative way towards, their would-be robber and or bad guy. And I find it interesting, and because they were still all scared, like all of the ladies, even though they were
talking pretty exclusively about the relationship between mostly Sonny and the people working in the bank.
Right? Yes, the ladies who were tellers. It was mostly women. There was one gentleman, and then the security guard who left early. But like, they were all very comfortable. They all were, chatty. Some of them were dancing. Some of them were doing.
The cops were like, "A black guy, get him!"
That was a thing. My God. I was like,
The bank guard guy
yes.
is a black man, and as we mentioned earlier, he has asthma issues. So he's the first hostage that Sonny releases. And the minute this guy, a black man, is out the door, all the cops immediately grab the son of a bitch, smack him against a police car, slap the handcuffs on. It's like, what the hell are you doing? That's
and
a
the
hostage.
lead teller woman is like, that's a hostage. She's yelling to the cops. She's like, that's a hostage. That's a hostage. And yeah. But yeah, so I found it so interesting because as much as
Brian Dennehy is all like, you said there were all women in there. That's not a woman.
Not Brian Dennehy. Oh my
God. It's not.
No, it's not, but I know
it could have been.
But it could have been, and that's the point.
The FBI guy is not Charlton Heston.
Dude, there were like, yeah. I loved how stoic he was sometimes, but no,
yeah, he was like I know how this ends, buddy.
Yeah, he definitely,
even if you don't.
He definitely knew the hand that was being played, and like you knew that looking at him as an audience member. I was like, he knows everything that's about to happen, and but I don't. And I'm like, and Sonny definitely doesn't. But no, the point I was getting to, I'm sorry that I'm long-winded because I'm just fascinated with this whole movie. I do want to watch it again, like very quickly. It would have to be very quickly because it leaves, you said, what, tomorrow?
I mean, unless Criterion is doing, it's apparently leaving, but I've seen movies arrive at the beginning of a month, leave at the end of the month, and then come back the next month again. So it's probably just some weird licensing thing.
Okay.
I don't know fair. That it will be back next month, but
yeah. But it's just funny because inside the bank is status quo. The ladies don't feel scared. And then when they learn they're about to leave, like when the stuff, because it's not real, like it's funny how in this bank robbery situation, everything within the bank is like the stasis. Like that's it's just
for a lot of the hostages, it kind of turns into just an adventure. We're going to Algeria. I mean, what the hell?
And then like when they get like, and then it gets a little scarier at the end, and then it's like, and then the actual like when they get saved, those emotions must be so confusing for those people. And I thought that was an interest. It was just, everything was played so well. I don't know how
I feel about this.
Yeah, it was just, I've not seen a movie recently or that there is not another movie at this moment that comes to mind, maybe it does for you, that every person seems very complicated. You know,
all the characters definitely feel like people who have lives outside of what we're seeing.
Like even his wife, I understand, like his Angie wife, not Leon, but like you know exactly who that woman is, and you know exactly, and she is, perhaps she's an archetype, but like she played that role. You knew who she was. You understood the relationship between them. You like it,
and the mother,
and like you just, even these characters who have smaller moments and just the singular moments. I mean, granted, the mother has two and Angie, the wife, has two, but like these small little moments, you still get a complete picture of not only who they are, but how who they are affected Sonny. And it's fascinating.
And vice versa.
And and vice versa.
I also find it interesting that Sonny is the hero of the film. He's the protagonist. And so when you start the movie, you're thinking, okay, it's just a bank robber story, but he seems to be a good-hearted, nice guy. And once Leon is introduced into the film, you start getting a little bit more of who Sonny is in his personal life. And you start finding out that he and pretty much everyone in his life are trying and failing at adulting. They're just they're not they're not the best people. You might not even say they're good people. They're not bad people. They're just constantly failing themselves and each other. It's
Yeah.
It's really sad. It doesn't make Sonny a bad person. It's like, this is just really sad. He's trying, but he's screwing it up, and he's
Yeah.
been screwing it up. And this bank robbery is a very bad attempt to fix some of the things that he's just been screwing up with relationships and everything. And yeah, still not going so well. One thing we haven't touched on is the populace, the crowd that gathers.
Sure.
A lot of what this movie is talking about is the news reporting and celebrity that surrounds because I mean 20 minutes in the movie's outside going Attica, and he's strutting along playing to the crowd. He ends up throwing some of the traceable money at the crowd. And the crowd's like on his, screw the cops, we like this guy, he's cool.
They have signs by the end of the movie. They have signs that say we love Sonny, and they chant something that I did not catch. I don't know what they were chanting, but they were chanting at the end of the movie when I don't remember what they were chanting, but
what's interesting is how quickly the crowd, at least in part, turns against him as soon as they find out he's gay.
Yeah. No, I think that was a big, important thing. But then that group comes out in support because there was, that group comes out in support, which was great. But yeah, there definitely was that moment when they saw that Leon was his wife.
Right. I'm really impressed by a movie from the mid-70s tackling the topic of queer relationships with grace and sensitivity.
Yeah.
Albeit with the language of the 70s.
Exactly. That's the thing. There was no, the language wasn't developed yet.
Right.
But I will say I was also quite blown away by that, because this is a mid-70s movie.
Yeah, it's not played as a laugh or a joke.
No.
It's not played as disgusting. There are I can think of like two people in the movie, like where Leon is first talking to the police about his relationship with Sonny. There's one guy in the background who goes, but it's presented as that guy's an intolerant dick.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
well, and no one and that's the thing, is that as the audience, our feelings of him don't change because he doesn't change who he is, and everyone in the bank knows about Leon, and no one in the bank makes any sort of like.
A few people register some form of surprise as in like, oh, huh. But I don't think anyone, like, the only person in the bank who registers any measure of disgust is one Christian woman, but it's over someone saying the F word. It's not about his relationship with Leon.
Right, exactly.
She's just clutching her pearls over someone dropping an F-bomb.
Yeah, but no, I thought it was very well handled, and I also at first was very confused when I saw Leon get out of the car and they were like, that's his wife. And I was like, what are they doing with this? And I was scared at first. I'm like, oh boy,
I have a feeling
am I going to be upset?
I'm not entirely clear what was going on. I have a feeling that he was committed and probably suffering conversion therapy.
Yes.
I'm going to guess that's.
Yes. Yeah. It would be because he even says in, that he wants to go back and that he was still waking up. Like he was probably, I mean, again, I don't know at that time, the resources for trans people was not what it is. And even though he was getting money for his confirmation surgery,
which apparently only costs like $2,100.
That's because it was most likely that's probably because he had to go to Algeria.
There you go.
for a under the table, job or whatever. I mean, like, because I don't think it is. But I wonder, like, the therapy that he was undergoing in,
in whatever
Bellevue
hospital they
or
pulled him out of, yeah.
or whatever it is. I
All we
doubt
know
is
is he was
here.
he was being held there, and they were pumping his ass full of drugs. So.
Oh yeah, which I don't think was trying to help him understand himself as the female that he is.
No, probably not.
Yeah. So anyways, the crowd was very interesting. I find bad guy celebrity fascinating. Especially because I don't know if just I mean, maybe him, because obviously he gets them on his side by referencing Attica. That was the key thing. And not being alive and or from New York at that time, I cannot say how it affected the zeitgeist and how it affected the mood, because having lived there for as long as I did,
I would imagine it was a mix. There are a bunch of people pissed off at it, and then a bunch of people, they're all criminals, who cares?
Right. Well, not all. A few of them were.
No, like a good chunk. There were a few dozen people killed, and like 10 of them were civilians, people who worked in the prison.
Yep. But I also know how cities that one like rally around each other when they have these tragedies. So like, and I remember when I learned about the Attica, I learned about that as a kid because, I would watch the 24 hours to the red carpet or whatever for all of the Oscar ceremonies. And so you learn that. And I remember not knowing what that was and asking what it was and hearing about the riots, which later in my life I actually learned about then. But I was like, this does not make sense. Why would you yell about people? Like, why would you yell about a prison? This makes no sense to me. Like, it didn't. I was like, you don't have the comprehension to put it together. And so now as an adult, when it happened, I was like, oh, this does make so much sense. I understand what he's saying. It's so great. I love being an adult. It makes me so happy. I like being an intelligent adult. Here's the thing. There are probably a lot of adults who are like, oh, I'm an adult, but I don't think that they can call themselves an intelligent adult. Maybe they do. Maybe I am just as I've brainwashed myself to think I'm a capable person. Maybe I'm really not. But like in Natural Born Killers, the celebrity around those two, but it's a different type of celebrity as well. Neither are healthy.
Correct. Yeah. Sid, our buddy Sydney definitely has good old Sid has a dim view of media behavior surrounding such events.
Yep.
I would say that the authorial perspective is that they should probably just butt the hell out, or at the very least, record it for posterity maybe, but this does not need to be live. You don't need to interview people. It doesn't need to be live. Stop making it a football game. Stop making it live entertainment.
Well, that
it's
one dude
newsworthy. Yeah, the guy who like delivers the pizzas is like, I'm a star.
Yeah, and then the guy who was interviewing the head teller woman when she came out with the security guard.
Right.
And he was like hanging from an awning trying to get an interview with this woman, and she's like, yeah, hi, I'm Janet or whatever. And it's like, so yeah, in every scene, in every exterior, whenever something new happens in the press and the mob come in, it's all like, get out of here, you're making it worse. It's very it definitely is
the press are only trying to exploit a situation for financial gain. The cops are really itching to shoot somebody.
Yeah, this is what this movie said. Press bad. Cops triggers. Happies. But yeah, it's
And surprisingly, most people in the 70s were not very bigoted. Oddly, that's like, yay. I hope that was true.
Speaking of not bigoted, something else I didn't catch, and maybe upon my second viewing, I will catch it. And perhaps I also should have just, I don't know, Kelly, rewound for a second. I couldn't catch what the fake limo bus driver said to Sonny to give himself away, because he said something about the white man or a whitey or something, and then he goes, "Get out," and I was like, "What did he say?"
Yeah, I don't remember what specifically tipped off Al Pacino.
But and maybe I need to turn on subtitles for it, because it sounded also like an aside to me. Like, I was like, I don't think I paid attention to it at first, because it sounded like I'm gonna get in, this is gonna be fun, kind of like the pizza delivery guy. And then when Sonny was like, "Get out, I'm onto you, you're a cop," I was like, I should have paid attention. I don't think I understood. Either way, good for Sonny, but bad for Sonny because they were both cops.
Would have been the same result either way.
Exactly. It was gonna be the same. Yeah.
Any idea what is Dog Day Afternoon? Is that like a phrase? Is that a colloquialism? Because I don't know it.
So yes. I don't think the whole thing, but like the dog days of summer, you've heard that. Like the dog days, which I just think are like the hot, miserable. And so I think that's what this, I mean, especially with all the sweat. So I think that is just
alternate title, A Hot Afternoon.
Yes. It's quite moist in here. The no AC adventures.
Yeah.
That's what I would expect. It's like, this is, a miserable, hot, this is the afternoon, and well, oops. It's the oops afternoon. I mean, at least that's how I would read into it. I could be reading wrong, but I haven't heard Dog Day Afternoon. I've heard like what Dog Day.
Okay.
Afternoon is something, 1 p.m. to like 4 p.m.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Nice.
My breakdown of those words.
All right. So how are you going to make your past movie mandating transgressions better?
Yes, right. So I've had a few duds, to be fair. And I don't think I'm gonna go with my dudliest dud of movie. I'm going with the movie that disappointed me the most, and the recording that, because the movie disappointed me so much, I just hated everything I said during that recording. And because I was just so angry about Igby Goes Down.
Igby Goes Down.
Independence Day, because indies are my bag, baby, ! And like, it was just that Independence Day, that indie film month, was just very upsetting. So we're going to try again. And we're going to finally watch Pi, Darren Aronofsky's first film. Okay.
Oh, it's his first.
I own it and have never seen it. So I am excited, because I
like pie.
I do. I also like math, but I also like Darren Aronofsky very much.
I wonder if it's going to be another Aronofsky film where it's like, it's great, I never want to watch it again.
Which is fair, because I will never stop saying great things about Requiem for a Dream. Amazing.
It's the one I was thinking of. Oh yeah.
I'll never watch it again.
Yes.
However, I will
no interest in ever seeing it again.
I'll tell everyone who hasn't watched it to watch it.
See it once.
But I'm not going to sit with you.
Yep.
So yeah, I am sorry about Igby, and let's watch Pi.
All right, sounds good. Well, today's episode may have come to an end, but Mea Culpa month continues next time with Kelly's mandated movie, Pi. If you'd like to watch it too, go over to Kelly's house. Apparently she has a copy. or check the description to see where it's currently streaming or available to rent. Until then, you can watch Movie Mandates on YouTube or listen to it in podcast form on iTunes. And if you enjoy the show and would like to help us reach a wider audience, engagement is key, so like and comment on YouTube and rate and review on iTunes. Much obliged. And with that, I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen.
And I'm Kelly, and you can find me at Get Isengard. I don't know what I was about to say, but it wasn't that.
We hope you've all enjoyed this episode of Movie Mandates, and we'll be back soon with another mandated movie. Bye, everyone.